Hi guys, welcome back to CouchTalk with LHS. My name is Mpele, aka Boss Lady. Woo! I'm not alone. I am with Zanele Buthelezi, aka Zenzi. It's been a long time.
Very long time.
How are you, Zanele?
I'm good. How are you now?
I'm okay, thank you. How does it feel? It feels very weird. I must just put it out there.
It does.
Very weird.
After such a long break.
It was a sabbatical. It was a long break. A lot has happened. We've had changes. We've had things that were new, and we just took a long break. So we are back. Sorry for keep you waiting. And I hope we're gonna stay longer. And not take such a long break. What's been happening?
A lot has been happening. It's been busy. It's been hectic. Your WSP submissions. A lot has been happening in HR. So that's why the break.
I'm talking about the two-part system that's been introduced, and I know we're busy with that. Trainings are happening just so that we can inform our staff members and people.
Reviews,
so there's just performance reviews, there's increases. And we're now in so around that time people are starting to plan for equity equity submission as well. So there's really been a lot of things that have been happening. I think there's also a trend of small companies now taking up HR, wanting to make sure that
which is good.
It's very good.
Which is good because
it's very good.
Most small companies wouldn't know the importance of HR. So seeing that much more companies are coming to a realization that we actually don't need HR when now we've got a case that we have to take through the CCMA and so forth. So it's really interesting to see that people or companies want to do the right thing from the initiation part up until the termination, so that everything is done correctly,
absolutely. So we've been very busy. So before we even start, I think it's fitting to just remind ourselves of things that have happened, just so that we kickstart with things that have happened previously. So I think maybe we can just start off by looking at what has happened. We've had a couple of visitors and guests that came through, a couple of them people that I can think of, like your Jalinjali, Daki, and we've got good things. Emmanuel was here, we've had Togo was here. So out of all those episodes, good things that have come out as well. Just to name two that I know, Daki was, has been invited for talks.
Oh, nice.
She was recognized from the podcast.
Nice.
So she does share some information with me, and she just, she's grateful of the opportunity that she got from the podcast. We also have Togo, who came in as a candidate, somebody who was looking for a job, and she did find a job, which is absolutely great. So
good to hear that story.
It's absolutely good to hear such stories, and I think it just brings out the pride and joy of why we started this whole thing. It's not about anything else other than helping people out there, So that's why I think maybe just exciting projects that are coming out. Do you wanna inform everybody of the exciting projects, and things that are coming out?
Well, one of them being the principal desk that is coming up. So yay, be on the lookout. But we'll speak more about it some time. But there's that project that is currently being rolled out. So we are looking into implementing our own program, and we still have that training that we have for educators as well as So there's quite a few things that are lined up, and we would be sharing all those things with you as we go.
Absolutely. So another thing is that, just so that we can inform our guests, is that when we started the podcast, we started with the vision of talking about HR related stuff, sharing our experiences, bringing guests and talking about it. But now we've expanded. Because we are in the space of HR, we've expanded. If there's people that are interested in talking about their business and wanting people to know about their businesses, there's companies, big companies that are doing things to put themselves out there to be recognized as the best companies to work for. So if there's anybody that's interested and would want to have chat with us about their companies and things that they're doing for their people, you are more than welcome. So people can get a hold of us on info@letalohr.co.za. So that is info@letalohr.co.za.
And just to add, it also goes to anyone that is interested in being a speaker.
Absolutely.
Or sharing information about
Absolutely.
any industry, so that we still maintain our purpose to educate and to inform. So if you are interested, hit us up.
Absolutely.
Another category that we can look at is the most informative category, because there's been a lot of lessons learned. Just to pick one, my take home was when Emmanuel said, it's always nice to connect the dots looking backwards. That, I think, just made so much sense after hearing it, because now everything makes sense in life. You go through those stages based on a certain purpose or reason. So connecting those dots.
Looking backwards.
Yes, but there were a lot of
informative. I mean, we talked about marketing with Spiwe. We spoke about IT with Dagi. So it wasn't only, on HR related topics. It's anything and everything that touches on the human aspect. So we did have a lot of informative moments. So let's have a look. So now, where does the quiet quitting phenomenon or thing coming from? Is it just after the COVID situation where people realize, you know what, we work lesser, or some people can work harder at home? So where does it come from? Why now?
It is something that came up during the panorama, also known as the pandemic. But I think for me, it started essentially when what we like to call AMA 2000 came into the workplace, right? My favorite people in the entire world that are disrupting the workplace. Because they are the kind of people who come into the workplace, they want to be impactful, they want to feel like the work that they're doing not only fulfills their own career objectives, but also meets the obligations of the organization, and hopefully the organization also has a goal that has like greater goals that meet other goals, and they are very much work-life balance, right? It's like, I'm here, you pay me for my 9 to 5, I'm doing the work, please don't come in between me and my tequila at 6 o'clock.
What are some of the challenges that you are faced with in terms of people coming on for interviews and them not being, for example, prepared? Or what are some of the mistakes that they do while they are during an interview?
There are quite a number of mistakes that people make. A person will come to interview not being without knowing any policy whatsoever. You will try, to suss out information from them on policy, and they don't know much about it. And it's like when you go for an interview, know your curriculum policy. Know what does CAPS stand for. What are the assessment requirements, school-based assessments for the year in a subject that you are teaching, you will be teaching. What are some of the content areas in your subject? Those are the basics. Know the, how does an ATP for your subject, annual teaching plan for your subject look like? So that's it. What are some of the things that you will do in terms of discipline? And of course, you are guided, there are policies. You can just take a policy from a school, any school for that nature, and say, these are my guidelines for discipline, to get the point. Get into an interview knowing that. We are not saying that they will ask you necessarily those questions, but at least you will have information to fall back on in terms of responding to that. So normally, in an interview, have this structure. So when I get asked a question, I should know at least about the policy that governs that, because everything and anything, particularly in state schools, is governed by policy. Know the policy, be able to elaborate that policy and link it to a question that has been asked.
So let's just talk about the payslip. Very interested in the payslip because at times for some of, I'm not going to say some of us because we call you and we ask certain information. But other people don't care about the payslip or they don't know how to read the payslip. The only thing that they know, I'm supposed to get 15,000 in my bank account every single month. If 15,000 is not there, we have a problem. So what are the payroll definitions, and maybe just to elaborate a little bit more on the definitions?
Sure. I think everyone will generally be aware that, look, I'm getting a salary.
Yes.
So salary is the first thing anyone would look at, more especially in other environments where people are privy to working overtime. Those are additional items that they would look at. So anything that brings money in my pocket, is something that I would look at. So earnings, basic salary, overtime, any allowances that are paid, those are generally things that people will look at on a payslip.
And I would assume that they are taxed differently. It depends on the component or the definition.
That is correct.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. My annual bonus, is taxed in a different way than my basic salary. So one would ask when they get their payslip to say, look, my basic salary is 10,000 Rand, for example. I am used to my tax being so much. Now I've got an equivalent amount as a bonus. I would have expected my tax to be double the amount, but it's not. The question is why. So obviously then the Income Tax Act would come into play there to say, look, if you are getting a bonus, it is treated differently in your tax calculation. So generally people do not know that, but with a payroll administrator that knows all these acts will be able to explain, why the tax is what it is. And obviously your tax is a deduction, which is a statutory deduction that needs to be deducted. Nobody likes to have it. With the high tax percentages that our government has levied, I think people generally grin when they get to see their payslip and the amount of tax. It has to be done. Unfortunately, you can't tell the payroll administrator don't deduct tax because it's too high.
Yeah.
And you have your UIF, which is also a statutory deduction, and most people will pay for it for years and years and years, and they don't see the benefit of it up until such a time that they actually maybe lose employment, either through retrenchment, or if they go on maternity leave and the company doesn't provide full pay while you're on maternity leave, then they realize the importance of actually paying UIF. The company also contributes towards it as well, and the employee also pays their portion. And further to that, you then generally have other deductions. If I've taken a loan, that loan would come in as a deduction. And if there are any other, for example, union affiliated companies, they too would have extra deductions that are mandatory due to the fact that they belong to a certain union. And also, if companies belong to, for example, like in the factory industry, certain companies need to belong to a certain industrial council, like in the steel industry. And that particular industrial council has further deductions that they make, which employees don't really have a choice to say whether they want to have them or not. Obviously, they are to benefit the industrial council from, basically on a cash flow basis, and also some of them protect the employees in terms of when they need to get paid when they're on sick leave. For example, there's things like sick pay that they will contribute towards. Further to that, all of those earnings deductions ultimately lead to the money that I receive in my bank, which is my net pay. Generally when I look at my payslip, I'm happy to see everything that is on the left, which are all my earnings. I'm very sad to see everything that is on the right, which is my deductions.
We draw from each other. There's a whole concept of reverse mentorship that's come into play now in HR especially. But that is so real because we are not just a sum of our experience or a sum of our years on earth. We have so much divine intelligence in us. there is so much wealth of experience that I learn from coaching young people. I'm like, sure, you've inspired me today. It was meant to be the other way around, but I walk away a better person. So I think learning from each other, building those people who you really want to draw from, and keep building that in you, because there's something there. I remember somebody saying, I think it was Oprah, who said, you know, when you admire another woman or another person, there is something in that person that you identify with. It's not that you just admire that person. There's something in you that I admire that is there, and for me, then the work is to tap into that. And I think the first time I heard that, I admired the likes of Maya Angelou, Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama. I still adore them. But knowing that, because sometimes we can see them as different or separate from, but knowing that, and then I'm like, oh, and then I read Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, and I'm like, oh, it's the same thing. We're on the same journey. You don't know me.
Exactly.
But I know your spirit. And this is beautiful that you just sharing your journey helped me see that I'm just unfolding in each level, in each way. I'm just unfolding. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm not trying to be like you. I just want to be the best version of
yourself. Yeah.
That's it.
For example, someone in the public sector is listening to us, because we are seeing a lot of resistance in terms of the public sector being transforming, you know, in terms of digital transformation. So if you were to speak to someone in the public sector, what are the benefits or opportunities you would present to them to start implementing these particular systems?
Okay, I think the first point of departure is change management. In every organization, when you talk about change, people will resist change. Some will think that because I sit at home, I face every day and process a paper, once we go digital, what will happen to my job?
Yeah.
I sit at the clinic every day and write down the file. Once they implement electronic case management system, what will happen to my job? So I think we need to start with the change management, so that the people within the organization will understand that this will improve efficiency, this will make their job easier. And you also need to present the training opportunity as well, that the fact that we want to move to this digital platform, there will be proper training that need to be done. And then secondly is leadership. You need buy-in from leadership. Leadership need to transform. When you can't talk about digital transformation without changing. So as leaders, we need to be digital leaders. Yeah, we need to move. We are strategic leaders already, but there's an element now of digital leader that need to come to part, where people need to understand that this is the benefits in the long term. And then the good thing about that is that you also improve, the government can also improve in terms of having uniform customer experience. If everything is done online, digital, whether you're in Mpele or whether you're in Gauteng, you're going to have uniform customer experience, because the controls are in place, the processes are in place, automation is in place, so you're going to experience more or less the same service regardless of where you are. So I think from the public sector, it's training, the issue of skills as well, because there are people that, yes, we want to adopt this thing, we want to go digital, but we don't know. So there's a skill gap there in terms of training. Earlier when I was having offline discussions, we talked about trainings in the big data analysis. We also talk about training on the cyber security, because once you start to work with high amount of data, there's a security part of it that we also need to look at it as well. But most important thing is that training, people need to be part of the change management. You also need to get champions as well, people that will have buy-in on the concept, and then also leadership. Buy-in is very important in terms of transforming. There will always be resistance, because some people they see job threat more than efficiency and growing the organization.
True.
Okay, so we also touched about student chapters, right, and universities that you guys accredit. Are there specific universities that you would want to mention that are, just in case there are, you know, HR students that would want to, or people, matriculants that want to select a specific university or college, just so that at least they know if the specific university has an added benefit, that's where I'm going.
UJ, University of Pretoria, Northwest University, And right now, other universities, we are in the process of accrediting them. Your CUT will soon be accredited. WUSU was accredited. They are about to also renew their accreditation. Which ones, other ones, University of Venda is also in the process to be accredited. So we have a list of our universities that we have accredited. So go to our website, log on, and check which universities we have accredited. The information is there because the list changes as the other ones renew their accreditation, and others, it will be the first time that they accredit their universities. And we have seen the trend now that the universities are coming on board now because they know the importance of being accredited with a professional body, because there's a lot of benefits. I mean, if I can mention that we have what we call your CP reports, you know. I mean, HR is rooted on the 4 pillars: knowledge, ethics, governance, or professionalism, and your duty to society. So the very first pillar is knowledge. So as the HR professional, you need to be knowledgeable. And as you are the member of the professional body, you get first-hand information, you know, compliance, the legislation, the rules are changing, the laws are changing, you know, everything. The professional body is there to give you that support, you know, very, very important.
And to add on that, we're talking about compliance because we need to ensure compliance in a company. We need to ensure that we are compliant with the current legislation, right? And companies do come to you guys because you do have HR auditors that are going to specific companies that would want to understand and know that their functions you know, are in line and what they're doing is in line. So maybe just tell us a little bit more in terms of that particular compliance and the HR auditors.
Yeah, HR audit. Okay, let me mention that people should not be afraid when they hear HR audit.
It's not to get you out.
Yeah. It's not that. It's not punitive, but it's intended to help you to improve your HR departments, your HR practices. You just mentioned compliance, so that you comply, so that you have your HR governance in place, your processes are in place, your policies and compelling policies aligned to the national HR standards, that your HR practices are aligned, because there needs to be that alignment. You know, your strategy is that whatever that you do is in terms of, or it speaks to good governance. You know, there's that sense of good governance. And how are you measuring your impact in the organization? You know, are you on the right track? Are you doing the right thing in terms of what HR actually is? So the HR audit, you are audited against the national HR standard. So we have a team of auditors who will give you a comprehensive report, the findings and the recommendations. Yeah.
Just to delve into it, and maybe, you know, for somebody that doesn't understand, because we do have an understanding, but we just want to educate. What are the principles then that are guiding or that are outlining OD?
Look, I think firstly, I would like to address a principle that everyone applies, or majority of organizations apply, which is wrong. Organizational design does not start with talent. Organizational design does not start with people. Organizational design starts with the strategy. Everything that you're doing in organizational design, you focus on your strategy. The strategy is the first point of analysis and assessment. From the strategy, you then build what we call the organizational capabilities. So this is the simplest way that I can explain it, is that an organization has capabilities. People and talent have skills and competencies. So the process of organizational design excludes talent. You are not thinking about people at this point in time. You are purely concerned about the strategy of the organization and interpreting that strategy into the organizational capabilities. Those capabilities will then guide us in terms of what the structure needs to look like. What are the type of roles that will be able to execute the strategy, to execute those organizational capabilities. And at that point, then you'll start to see the roles coming together and you'll start to see a structure coming together. at that point, you then start to look at people. You then start to look at the type of skills and competencies you have in your talent pool that you then match to the roles in the structure.
So hi Neo, I was recently looking for a job and I was interviewed by 2 people from the company. I would like to keep the company anonymous. The recruiter requested that we interview using Zoom instead of meeting at their offices because they were renovating. In the interview, I got weird vibes. I could not put my finger to it because some of the questions I asked were not answered, and they kept on telling me that they are looking for a limited number of employees and they have a lot of candidates to interview. I was told the position is urgent and they need someone to start on Monday. I asked about experience and they said they don't need experience because they have scheduled a week training in Cape Town. So on the first day you would need to bring your luggage and be ready to go to Cape Town. Wow, I thought this is a breakthrough until I was asked to pay 5,000 Rand up front to show that I'm serious, and the 5,000 Rand will be refundable with my first month's pay. I immediately asked for a loan from Mashonisa. So that's a loan shark, because I know my family would not have that amount on a random day, and because I wanted the job, and who will give me a job with no experience, I had to jump at the opportunity. Offer was presented and I accepted via phone, and Monday of the trip, about 20 people were there waiting for transport to go to Cape Town, but nothing.
Yo!
Guess who's still paying for the loan, the loan shark?
That is sad.
This is very sad.
That is very sad. It's so sad because there's a lot of people that are not employed. Our employment rate is very high. People are getting desperate. There's responsibilities that they have. And unfortunately, some people would resort to then doing everything in their power to ensure that they get employment. Then they are scammers.
You know, there's a lot of... When I read this, my first thought was the amount of educating that we do to our candidates. The amount of information that we reveal to our candidates just so that they are put at ease. Because there's a lot of human trafficking, there's a lot of, people being scammed, which this is one of them. I mean, for this particular person, if you are unemployed, you really don't, it's a struggle to have your CV printed. I'm going to make an example. We had a candidate not so long ago that came for fingerprints. So the candidate came in and actually, just as a general talk, because we, we'd like to have conversations with people, and said, it's such a lot of money for me to come and take my fingerprints each and every single time because of the validity of the results. So can I ask for my hard copy CV back when I don't get the job, just so that I can go hand it over
somewhere else?
So for this particular person being asked 5,000, where do you get it at a random day?
And if you are desperate, they said that they're looking for people as soon as possible. You are desperate, you're thinking, okay, there's a lot of people looking for a job, and if I don't give this particular securing fund, then I'm not going to get the job. Then you go to such lengths to get the money, then you are left paying off the loan
by yourself. So as a starting point, maybe
it's just something point. To be busy with something, not just say I want to be a teacher, I don't want to do any kind of work. But then if that work gives you other opportunities to go into the teaching profession, take that work. If it means you being a volunteer, help other teachers at school, maths, groups and other folks that can take that job, volunteer where possible. You can also host like a mentorship or tutoring session for learners for free. Just so you cannot forget the content. Because the more you sit at home, the more you do Netflix and all other things not related to your teaching profession or your work profession, the more you forget all other things. So the time you get work, it's going to be difficult for you to go back and refer and say, there's something called corporate social responsibility. What is it?
So that's very important because, if you stay longer without a job, like you said, you sometimes tend to forget, because you now, I wouldn't say relaxed as such, but you're not going back to content where as you were a teacher, you prepare all the time in terms of your lessons, right? So how do you keep yourself updated with all the changes that are happening? in your lessons, maybe, and with things that are happening in your subjects?
You can do that by just have a portfolio, which you can go through as time goes on. Maybe it can even go to an extent of like, if they say this is term 2, isn't that you're waiting for work? You are looking for work. So it's term 2 or term 3, and then go through the chapters that then has to do that term for in case you get work.
Oh, in my world, what I found out in terms of digital marketing, people watch the ad digitally, and they walk into the store and want the same thing that they saw. So it's also, you need to balance your marketing and product offering in terms of focusing on the omni-channel. It is available online, it is available on the physical store. So yeah.
Mara, you can see how powerful it is. It's digital market. It's very powerful in the sense of, I'm gonna give you an example. I'm not a person like I was talking about it yesterday. This McDonald's wrap, the chicken fold over. I saw somebody advertising it and I was like, I know. I need it in my life. But just to show how powerful it can get to the market.
Also, if you look again, TikTok. How many items have we bought because TikTok said this works perfectly fine?
Exactly. See, TikTok is working. Like TikTok is overtaking Twitter, Facebook, Google Shopping. Twitter is the way to go. The only challenge I'm having about Twitter is the way it serves your adverts. It's because people do not, when you're registering on Twitter, some people don't enter their, TikTok.
Oh, I was about to say I'm not an active member on Twitter.
On TikTok. Yeah. Some people don't enter their correct age. So you find a 16-year-old saying, I'm 21 years old.
Oh,
they get served an advert
that is not suitable
for them. Yes. And because you pay according to how many people have viewed your advert and how many people have clicked on your advert, you get charged for selling to a 16-year-old who cannot even afford to buy. You see, that is the only challenge. But TikTok, in terms of convincing,
it's powerful.
It is. It is very powerful.
It is. Yeah. That's why, let's go back. That's why a lot of companies now are making use of influencers to sell products. So we look at your following, and based on that, then you help me, sell a specific product.
Yes. Influencers, they do work quite a lot. And it also depends on your type of influencer. Are they influencing the younger generation? Are they influencing the baby boomers? Are they influencing, your millennials who have, got buying, buying power, so it also depends. I saw a campaign that was running, I think it was during spring. The company invested in 4 influencers selling similar type of brands. Sales were not that well because the influencers, they're just there to it's a millennial, it's a Gen Z, it's Gen Zs. Their followers are the younger ones who cannot afford to buy, but they like them, they aspire to be like them. But it didn't work for that particular campaign because the following is not, one that could buy. Yes.
Before we talk, because I want us to talk about, accommodating people with disabilities in the workplace, because we're talking about inclusion. So what does that entail, right? As an HR professional, there's an EEA1, you know about it, that we complete, right? For the Department of Labor. So on that EEA1, it states, the person, their race, gender, and then it also states whether the person is disabled or not. If yes, you select yes, then you select or you identify the type of disability, right? On those EEA1s, am I forced to declare my disability at work?
Okay, so in simple terms, we'll say no. Okay, you're not forced to declare your disability, but what happens is when your disability will have substantial limitation to your particular work that you'll be doing, then it would be important for you to declare that particular thing. For an example, if let's say for my eyesight, because I'm visually impaired, so if I know that I'm going to do a lot of reading, which is going to perhaps do small invoices or slips that the font might be small, then it will be important for me to express that to the employer so that they could be able to do or give me a reasonable accommodation. So it could be something like magnifying glasses or having a scanner so that I can scan the necessary documentation and then have it on the screen and enlarging it. So it depends on the situation, but in actual fact you're not forced to declare, but only when it will impact your particular work that you are employed for, then you can declare.
Exactly. And to answer your question on grading, grading is one of the processes that go wrong, that skew the play of equal work for equal pay. So you find that the roles were not graded correctly. The foundation of HR is shaky. So when the foundation is not solid, it's going to have a ripple effect on the rest of the HR value chain. And that's where you then start seeing nuances in terms of huge pay parities and pay gaps between employees doing the same role but sitting in different departments, doing the same role but sitting in the same department. So the importance of grading comes in that it gives us a systematic process to follow in identifying what the organizational hierarchy looks like. So from an organization point of view, it gives you that graphical view of what the organizational hierarchy looks like. And from a talent perspective, it then also lets us know the level of work that employee is going to be doing or that role is going to be doing. So the level of complexity of the role. Is it a role that is semi-skilled? Is it a role that is skilled? Is it a role that requires a senior manager? Is it a management role? Is it a supervisor role? So the grading process then helps you to exactly pinpoint where that role is positioned in the structure and in the organizational hierarchy.
All right, that was great. I mean, let's just, talking about that, the video that we just saw as part of the clips of the robot on the AI situation.
Hey,
so that's just crazy things that you remember. So as we always do it around the office, be it wherever, we're always full of jokes. We're coming to the fun part. All laughs. Let's look at all the clips. What? That is definitely coming up. That is definitely coming up. So let's just have a look at the moments where we had the most laughs.
Guys, I always say, an excuse to all the Caucasian listenings, que rata ditaba. Loosely translated, I like other people's business. And in industrial relations, guys, that's where you find it.
Exactly. And that's where you get, to the bottom of things. You dig deep. I just don't like people lying to me. That's my problem. So which appealing yellow fruit is slightly radioactive due to its high potassium content?
Banana.
Why is there a change in your voice? Oh, you did great.
Am I going to sing?
So the slight change was
I'll forgive you. And you sweating.
So I'm sweating.
No, I'll forgive you on this one. Thank you very much for coming through, though. This was a very interesting talk.
All right. So it takes a certain caliber type of person to actually work with payroll. I would suggest, first of all, if you know yourself and you know that you're not good with numbers, try and avoid going the payroll route. Maybe you can go in HR route, you know.
So that data is available for you now to pick up the trend, to make decisions, to implement some of the things that manually you cannot even see what is happening. Yeah. And then what was your question again?
You just had to make that point across. You had. So for somebody that wants to study, because we've got a lot of different kinds of people that are looking at the podcast. For somebody that wants to go into the same role and follow the same direction, what sort of competencies? Let's start with the competencies. Would they require?
They need to be passionate about people.
I think any role in the HR department, you need to be passionate. But can I just also add, I'm sorry,
not everyone's an HR person.
I was about to say, and another I've got 3 scenarios. So a second scenario would be, I am the face of the company, meaning that I'm at reception. How does it look if potential clients or clients just come in and I'm in torn jeans and my hair is not combed and I'm there, it just doesn't look good. Third scenario would be, we cannot expect foundation phase teachers to be in heels the whole time.
No.
They are running around with those kids. No. It's not.
Now we have the act. I know. Now no more something. I. By the time
So it depends. I think very important. We need to have maybe a session on policies because they are crucial. Just make sure you know what the policies are for the company, what is expected of you from that particular company, and obviously then you can just win your way from there. Yeah.
That's good. Next question. Am I forced to work overtime?
No. Overtime is.
I feel like I'm forced to work overtime in this company. I'm being bullied by my staff members. No, I'm joking. Yeah.
No, overtime is by agreement.
To drown?
Zanele, to drown?
Yes.
It starts with an S.
Yes. Okay,
I wouldn't want
to. Let's sink.
Thinking.
Okay.
I'm not happy.
Said Zanele. I said Zanele. Yes.
Said first.
I said Liana. We said really too. Then I said Zanele first before she said no.
Do you know how competitive? Can you please keep scores? We're not in charge of this. Who said what? Because I can't deal with this girl.
Okay, you have to listen to me now.
Yeah.
Cool.
You're reminding me of something that also happened to us.
Oh no. I'm trying to move away from such things.
You're reminding me of something that recently, just to give you a bit of background, guys. So recently I received an email. The email was from Neo. Apparently, it was from Mpele, and it was an email requesting that she would like to change her banking details. Surprise, surprise. So when you have a closer look at that particular email, it says Mpele, but the actual email, in emails you would have someone's name, then
the actual email address, yes.
Then the actual email was something totally different.
The sad part, the sad part about that, I'm sitting in front of you.
Imagine!
You were sitting in front of me.
Imagine!
Because I remember on that day, I think we were busy with training or showing you something like that.
And we literally see you not on your emails and our emails are very quick.
Yeah.
So an email, when it pops, you're like, okay, now it's sending me this. The funniest thing is that person doesn't even know how our payroll system works. So immediately you're like, oh God, here we go.
Tell the full story. So apparently I asked Zanele to change banking details for the current payroll. So Zanele and myself, being our usual selves, we thought, this is interesting.
Let's go ahead.
Let's play.
Let's play, Noah.
we've got time to do this.
Yes.
You sent an email back asking the person to complete our new bit because we do have forms
Yes.
just so that we can verify.
Yes.
That's
So for a marketer, it helps, but for a person who's not in marketing, when you see things like that, it freaks you out sometimes. Or you move from, let's say for example, from Pretoria, because we stay in Pretoria,
yes.
to Rustenburg. And then the things that you like or that you normally search, as soon as you get there, there's this there close by. I'm like, no, wait, it can't be that deep.
I think, no, man, no.
It's fine, it's nice, but at times you just get, you know,
it's like somebody's watching.
Exactly, it's like somebody's watching you. Big Brother's watching.
Okay.
Yes.
It does feel like somebody's watching though.
Thank God for AI. It makes things easy for us as marketers.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like we're stalking you.
Exactly. No, that's what I'm
Would
saying.
you stalk you?
You know, that's what I'm saying, that yes, there's a good or positive side to it, but at times when it happens, you still, because we're not in marketing, we don't know what's expected. At times people don't even know about these things, and you're like, and you know you need it, and it's like a constant reminder.
I get intrigued. You know, at one point I was searching for cars, not that I wanted to buy. It's just browsing through, and I found myself browsing your latest Mercedes. 2 days later, boom! I'm being fed a Rolls Royce. I'm like, so this big, I can afford a Rolls Royce. And when I think back, I searched cars. Just
but you see, because you know the background, you know how these things work. So for people that don't know, and you're like, but no, you know.
Yeah, but the name of the game is Guess the Ingredients.
Great, guess the ingredients. Okay. Yes. We're gonna eat.
Yeah, we're just gonna give
my
you food.
favorite part, food.
Yeah, so we're gonna give you food. I
Okay.
think it's salads, I'm not sure.
Okay.
And you guys have to taste and tell us what's in there or what they used on whatever that you were eating.
Okay.
Or whatever that you tasted. Right?
This is like the best game that you've ever come up with.
Because
games like this,
you must always come up with such games.
No, the next game will be about TikTok, because now I know that you love food and TikTok. Two things you love in life.
Okay, yeah, I think let's see, because this office loves TikTok.
Okay, I don't know, where do I start?
Okay, you can put it over here.
Okay.
So what do we do? What do we start with?
Yummy.
You start with whatever that you want to start with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, before we taste the ingredients, so we're going to tell you what they've put in here.
Yeah.
Okay. This is pumpkin, or do we have to take?
This is nice. This is nice. I don't know.
It's butternut.
Obviously, it's butternut. That doesn't count. It's like someone saying it's spinach. Obviously, it's spinach.
No, there's different kinds. I guess there's pumpkin, like Hubbard squash, and then there's gem squash, and then there's butternut.
There's a bit of chili.
Guys, can we just describe, right? Thank you.
There's a bit of chili here.
A bit of chili. No, there's butter, there's sugar. There's some sort of herb.
Garlic?
It's herb.
It's garlic!
Why are you loud?
Because I wasn't sure if it's garlic or not.
And she doesn't even like garlic. But she loves it. But
this is nice.
There's also some sort of a herb in here. This is very nice. Ooh, this is very nice.
It is nice.
I'm not a pumpkin fan, but can I taste again just to make sure the ingredients are blended?
I love this.
Isn't this a tasting game?
It's
eating. This is very nice.
I love this.
Okay, spinach
this
first.
Is nice.
There's feta.
The spinach, obviously. There's feta. That time she's taking the feta. No.
Do you want to share the feta?
There's cream. There's. This is nice. There's mushrooms.
The salt.
Whoa! nice.
You need to bring this person again. I'll go chakalaka.
Did we count everything? Did we count everything? Not everything.
Is there
peppers?
Is there some spice selling brown? Sitting again. It's a brown.
It's a thing. Barbecue.
No, not barbecue. It's not it's okay, and I know it. I'm two different kinds of spice.
There's cloves and nutmeg.
Nutmeg.
Thank you.
There's beans.
Carrots and onions. There's baby marrow.
There's baby marrow. There's Raja. Renowned. Go girl. I must cook every day.
I was about to suggest to lady captains every day.
No, this is nice.
No, I'm in my element. This is very nice.
This is nice. This is very nice.
The food is very nice.
Ingredients.
I go big beans.
Carrots.
Hey,
A baby marrow. Raja. Peppers.
Hi. Baby marrow.
Baby marrow.
Happy.
Chili.
No. Thanks.
No, there is.
Okay.
There's cheese here, so yes, there's cheese.
There's cheese.
There's peppers.
Macaroni. There is
A bit of sweet chili. Herbs. I'm seeing them.
The robot peppers.
I'll come take the robot peppers. Okay, this is nice also. I think you need to. Can I make a suggestion in front of everyone?
Okay.
I think my boss, the boss lady, needs to pay you to cook for us on a weekly basis. Thank you, we receive. Thank you so much. Thank you, boss lady.
Culture.
Exactly. You see where the culture. You see why it's important.
I must make mine. I will do it with
You
pleasure.
see?
Guys, can I just put a disclaimer? We're currently on a biggest loser challenge. And we're going to fail. You do beetroot? How do you eat?
There's beetroot. There's sweet chili.
Tomato sauce?
No.
Chutney?
Yes.
Oh, yum.
Nice. I don't know what else.
I don't know.
I don't know.
My favorite part. I really eat it.
I love it. You can get all the ingredients. Ooh, I get it. You?
Homo.
Okay. We can wrap up so that we can eat. This is nice, ma'am. Don't forget to contact her.
There's meat.
Please. Oh, there's meat.
This is very nice.
That is very nice.
Oh, man. Yeah, this, I must say it is a lot of work to shoot these episodes, just to try and organize these things. And when you look back, you just have those moments where you just feel like, oh, this was, a great initiative. And when you get people thanking you and coming back with feedback, it's always good to do such things. Oh, okay, so that was absolutely great. So it's good to be back. So maybe before we close, just things to look out for. So there is a new project that's coming out that is called Principal's Desk. So be on the lookout. It's starting quite exciting.
Yes.
So you'll get to know about it. It's still on our channel, so it's something that you need to look out for. So look out for that. And we are really happy to be back.
Yes, definitely back. By popular demand.
By popular demand. All right. So thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. So like I always say, you don't have to take everything from the podcast, but at least take one thing with you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you have comments, please leave them down below. Until next time.
Bye.